herself is okay to say it started when mom had a flag. It's one more kid than she thought she would. It was anything but playing Brotherhood. Go! Play Brotherhood! Play Brotherhood! Your car out of control. They would crash the airway to the microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. All the ladies now take off your clothes. Play Brotherhood! Play Brotherhood!
What year was the first Die Hard? 88?
That's a good guess.
88 was a good year for movies in general, I think. Roger Rabbit was 88.
Yeah.
Won some technical awards.
It was a good year for Reginald Vell Johnson, too, because I think that's when Family Matters started.
1988?
I think so, 88 or 89.
Yeah. Did you seen Die Harder, right?
Yeah.
Which was the first Die Hard, but at an airport. Is that what it was?
Right.
Didn't they do one of those things much like they did with American Pie 2, where it was like, let's bring the whole cast back, no matter how inexplicable it turns out?
Well, I think most of the cast from the first one was dead, but there was definitely the wife, maybe a little shot of his kids or something, and then Reginald Vell Johnson was there. He faxed John over some important documents. And then
how is that guy still a part of his life? Like, based on the events of the first film, like that was just a fluke one night.
Well,
they kept in contact.
There was some line in the first Die Hard where he said something about
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! Yeah, we all know.
Little Carl Jr. is gonna be playing with my kids on the swing set one day.
Oh, that's right.
So then in the second one, like, it was kind of like they were friends, but it was completely unreal. And then it was just a new cast of bad guys. William Sadler.
Yeah. And then Jeremy Irons in the third one.
Yeah.
And Timothy Oliphant in the fourth one.
Right, yeah. And the third and the fourth ones just went to new levels. They didn't keep.
Nothing screams badass like Timothy Oliphant. Although I did love him in Go, which is I think where everybody loved him, right? And then eventually Deadwood. Although I never really got so into Deadwood.
Yeah, I liked it. Fuck. I forgot what I was going to say. Shit.
You really had me hanging there, buddy.
Yeah. Fuck.
Was it about Bill Sadler?
Oh, no. I was going to ask, isn't there just so many Bruce Willis movies that really you could have just called them Die Hard? Because 16 Blocks, like, obviously he was supposed to be like an older cop in that, but they could have easily just changed the way he looked, his name, and called it Die Hard.
True. Same with Hostage, right?
Hostage.
Yeah.
Well,
basically.
that was based on a book and had to be small town sheriff or whatever he was in that movie.
Maybe it's the bald head that's throwing you off, because for the first three Die Hards, he at least had remnants of hair.
Yeah.
But then by the newest one, he's like, I'm fucking Bruce Willis, and I look the same in every movie now. And plays basically the same character. I guess you're right. I did enjoy, by the way, sitting, what was it, like 4 hours straight that we watched To Catch a Predator?
It was Predator Raw, the Unseen tapes on MSNBC. Yeah, those are fun to watch. And a lot of them are people I didn't recognize.
Even though it's exactly the same almost every time.
Yeah.
It's just like, what bullshit story can I try and spin as Chris Hansen staring at me?
Why do they talk? Why do they open up so much about it? They
Some of them don't. They just stick with one ludicrous story, and then that's what I would do.
But don't even tell a story. First of all, if you just refuse to say anything, then you're going to be like the most uninteresting guy with the least amount of airtime on the show. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that just bolted immediately the second they saw somebody.
Once the lesbian looking girl Dell from upstairs comes down and like hands a picture of a penis that you sent over the internet, you already shouldn't have been talking to Chris Hansen. Now you really shouldn't.
Yeah.
And then they keep talking to the cops because they show all that behind the scenes stuff. But after their rights are read, when they say you don't have to talk to us without a lawyer, don't do it.
Yeah.
But
it's like they feel like even at that point I can talk myself out of this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, like they're somehow going to
Talk
be
my
let
way out
go.
of this. Yeah.
The one kid on there, his defense was, look at how greasy my hair is. I didn't even take a shower today.
Yeah.
If I was going to have sex, I would have taken a shower today.
No. I've had plenty of unshowered sex.
And every
It's
time
fine.
they would show a picture of one of their cocks that they had sent to what they thought was a 13-year-old, they'd go, oh, I didn't know I sent that one. I don't remember. Did I send that to her? Like, I know where pictures of my cock are.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. I can't imagine taking a picture of my cock and sending it to anybody, let alone
Especially like webcam.
Yeah.
And one of them was like a fat Mexican guy. And that should be the tip off right there. Like, does this girl, especially when they use like the webcam decoys, it's a young looking 18-year-old actress. Like, you can't really think that as like a fat 40-year-old Mexican married guy jerking off into the webcam that this girl's really going to let you come over and fuck her.
I don't know. I mean, I think probably 80% of those guys have successfully fucked underage girls before.
Dude,
and I
ruin their lives.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know it's sad and hilarious to watch, but just their breakdowns. But no, what I think is, yeah, definitely some girls are into that just because it's an older man. It doesn't matter that, you know, he walks
young though.
Yeah, why not? Some girls are super curious and fucked up. They've all been molested by their own fathers, I'm sure.
Some guys that came there, and they would always say like, "Oh, it's just fantasy. It's just fantasy that I was."
So many of them today were saying
but
that.
you can believe that to a degree because no, they're not going to do all the manly fucking things that they described on the chat because they're big, huge fucking nerds. I mean, they're definitely going to fuck the girl,
yeah,
but not in all these ways that they thought they were going to. They're probably going to do it, feel guilty, cry afterwards. But some of these guys come and they're like fucked up, man. You can just see it in their eyes. They're crazy. They've been arrested for it 3 times before. They got weapons in the car.
Yeah.
Condoms, just 20 condoms in their pocket. And I always carry these around.
And they always have alcohol on them too, which the decoys must request that, like to make them even look like bigger assholes. Hey, I'm bringing over a 12 pack of Mike's Hard Lemonade for this 12-year-old.
Yeah, Chris Hansen always says stuff like, "Oh, we asked them to bring things because it helps prove intent." It got so ridiculous in the end. They had one guy walk in completely naked.
Oh yeah,
they're like,
I heard about that.
You should stand at the front door and take off all your clothes and then walk in. Whole interview with Chris Hansen. The guy's naked with a little towel. Chris Hansen comes out with the towel. You look like you could use this.
Oh God, he's so lame.
It's like he comes in when he knows he can make a little joke. Come over here, sir. Why don't you come here? Sit down behind the bar. Take your hands out of your pockets.
Yeah, I always like the decoy. Like she's being so sly when they come in. First of all, I love the guys that are genuinely suspicious when they come in.
Yeah,
like they're poking their head around first. But the girl's always up at the stairs. Like, oh, I got to put some. Oh, it was the one.
Well, sometimes it was so much. One was like, "Oh, I just bashed my toe on the bottom of this banister."
That was pretty clever, though.
I'm bleeding all over the place. My dad's gonna kill me. I don't know. That's too much. That's too overact. Like.
The one guy that
if I had that long a conversation with someone I still hadn't seen face to face, like they're around the corner in the next room, I don't know.
Yeah. The one guy that came in today, and she was calling up from the top of the stairs. And she's like, "Hey, come on in. Make yourself comfortable." She's like, "I just got out of the shower. I have to go put on some clothes." And he's like, "Do you mind if I watch?" Like, he hasn't even seen her face yet. Yeah. He just hears some distant voice. Those guys are so abrasive, man. Even if I was fucked up and got my jollies that way, I couldn't bring myself to do that's just that's a whole other thing.
But there's that one guy that turned around and he was like rubbing his cock through his pants trying to get hard. Oh
yeah.
My God.
Chris Hansen pins him for it too. Like, "What are you doing there, sir?" Like, he had his zipper down, and he was in the corner. Yeah, he's obviously like trying to get himself hard before the girl even comes down the stairs.
And a guy like that is probably immediately thinking, "Okay, I'm going to get like this amount of jail time for doing this." Oh fuck! Like, it really doesn't matter to them. That's why it's funner to watch like the doctors and the teachers and the churchgoers and the army guys.
Yeah,
who just like their fucking life is ruined. Oh, I love it.
It is and it isn't. Like, aside from the ones, because they at least the
as
version
far as everyone who you know is concerned, To Catch a Predator was such a huge pop culture thing that everybody who you know knows you were on that show. Anyone basically who you've ever met knows you were on that show.
I'm just talking about
that ruins your life.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. I totally see that. But as far as the consequences, like, except because they had the title cards that said what had happened and who got convicted and whatever else. But convicted's different than arrested and put in prison. And unless...
No, convicted means you're put in prison after you're arrested. They were all charged with something. Not everyone had been convicted.
Right. It seemed like the only ones that really got in trouble and ended up in prison were ones that had records for, sexual deviance in the past.
I think most everyone got jail time.
I don't know. I heard it's pretty easy to get off.
It seemed like a lot of them were sentenced to like a year. Maybe they got, time suspended or time served or whatever like that. But
And I'm not defending these guys, except for the ones that I thought were pretty cool.
some you feel bad for.
Yeah, some I do. Like the ones that are genuinely, well, fuck that. No, I
still
take that
showed
back.
up.
I almost dug myself into quite a hole there.
And they do bring the alcohol and shit like that, and they do have
Sex toys oftentimes.
like you don't read the transcripts. Like no matter how nice the guy does seem, like the transcripts had to get pretty explicit, and a lot of times they drove like 2-3 hours to get there.
I love it when they give their online handle when they first come in. This person, AKA, loves to fondle 22.
Yeah.
It cracks me up. Because, God, they're so old. And that guy with the twitch, and he was like 70 and professing himself to be 30.
Yeah. The guy was 68, and he was meeting a boy who thought he was 28.
Gross. I never knew that the reason that it was off the air was because of the guy that blew his head off.
Yeah, I believe it was an attorney in like Texas or Tennessee or something.
Let me look it up. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, and they had filmed a final episode that I never got to saw because usually it was by the end there it was like so hugely advertised when that was going to be on again, and then this one just kind of showed up one night and they've never shown a rerun. I think they took that guy's segment out, but some guy who was a lawyer or something, he got caught in a sting and it ruined his personal life so badly that he killed himself, and then like his sister and his mother sued to catch a predator, and they settled, but they still show it all the time on MSNBC, but it's always the behind the scenes
Let's
stuff.
say it's a loved one in your family that killed himself over that. Can you really see yourself suing them? Like,
Well,
can you get past your own?
It sounds like it was a family of lawyers. They're always thinking about who they can sue.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. And that, you look at it like, oh, this show is huge. I'm going to, and exploitative, and I'm sure they were pissed about what happened to their family member, and yeah, let's sue them. I bet they got some nice money out of it.
Brotherhood.
Would you like some sweet tea?
I'll give you $10 if you can tell me what movie I fell asleep to last night.
Do I get any more hints?
The first hint is that it starts with a G.
Geely.
No. The second hint is that I own it. Okay. Here's a third hint, though.
Let me look at my G's. Gross Point Blank.
Here, Geely has some sort of something to something with what I fell asleep to last night.
Okay, so it obviously stars Ben Affleck.
I'm not saying that it has something to something. It
By
could
that you mean Ben Affleck.
It could star Justin Bartha, who played the retarded kid in that. It could have been National Treasure.
He was in that.
IMDb.
Okay.
Could have been
So what
the
are my hints
complete
so far?
series of teachers.
My hints so
Sure,
far are it starts with a G, and it has some vague relation to Geely, but it's not Geely.
A little something.
A little something, something.
And it might star Justin Bartha.
Okay, can you tell me approximately what year this movie came out? Is that too much of a clue?
Pretty recent. Pretty recent. You want to
Geely recent or more recent? Can I ask that? I just did. So.
more recent? I'll give you a line from it.
Okay.
Make me a fucking martini. Make me a fucking martini, you fat fucking retard.
Ooh, the accent is throwing me off a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying G, and it starts with a Boston accent, but it's not Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't jump on that immediately.
Here's another line from it. Again, not from Good Will Hunting.
God, this is a lame game.
Again, not from Good Will Hunting. Here's a line from the movie. Hey, are you Will Hunting applying for this job? I got an appointment with Will Hunting today, Chief.
You can't say you're quoting Good Will Hunting or even allude to it.
Oh, okay.
And then just include his name
here's
in
a real
thick
quote.
Boston accent.
A real quote from the movie. Another one, and it's not Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
Hey, how do you like them apples?
Here's my impression of you doing an impression of a scene from Good Will Hunting. I'm Goodwill Hunting. Boston accent.
Okay. Do you really want a line from it?
Yes, please.
Will, you're sitting on a fucking lottery ticket
Stop.
and you don't fucking cash it in. You fucking retard.
I don't remember even Ben Affleck being so gurgly with his retard.
There was a definite gurgle in that. Okay, real line from the actual movie, and it's not Goodwill Hunting. Hey, I'm Mork from Mork. Have you seen my rainbow suspenders?
I've used that joke, at least half of that joke, on a previous podcast, sir.
Okay, here's a real line from the movie, and it's not Goodwill Hunting. If you're her only hope, then I pray for that girl because she's gone, baby, gone.
I have no idea what that could be. I hope it's based on a book by that guy that also wrote that other book, though.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, that's why I fell asleep to last night. And I fell
You
asleep.
fell asleep to Gone Baby Gone last night?
Yeah.
That's a little weird.
A day before, Silence of the Lambs.
It seems like when I have this condition, and I've had to explain it to girlfriends in the past, like, my falling asleep to something is necessary. And
Right.
not just...
Yeah.
Sometimes now it's podcast or like something on my iPod.
My wife doesn't
talk
like
radio.
me to fall asleep to podcasts. She thinks it's too annoying and distracting. She would prefer to fall asleep to King and Queens for every day of our life. Or something that
you
she
said-
finds humorous or something like that. But it was Gone Baby
She doesn't
Gone.
find any podcast be humorous. Has she ever heard ours? PlayingBrotherhood.com?
It's a little
that even
too
exists.
much for her, I guess. But it was Gone Baby Gone. The day before that, Silence of the Lambs, and the day before that, the later on documentary about Silence of the Lambs. That was on my Silence of the Lambs special edition DVD.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, like, your wife objects to listening to podcasts, let's say, to fall asleep.
She thinks it's too much.
Most girlfriends or wives.
Well,
in my case, it's only been
I
girlfriends.
think in a movie or a TV show, there's a lot of visual things, so it's not just nonstop talking. And that's what she relishes kind of in the silence. I don't think before me she ever went to sleep with TV on or anything like
Is that a
that.
weird thing? I guess that's my real question.
Well, a lot of
Because
people
every
hate it.
girlfriend, and granted, there's only been a few, but those few learned from the beginning that I can't fall asleep unless I'm watching something on TV.
I 100% cannot. And that's kind of a big thing with
You're
my
on my
wife.
side. You cannot.
Right. I
not
cannot
fall
fall
asleep.
asleep without anything like
Okay.
that. And on this side of things, when my wife complains about that, she has an extremely admirable quality, which is that she can fall asleep within, no joke, 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes of laying down. She's asleep. She can fall asleep immediately.
No matter what it is.
You are right. I can be 100% exhausted, and
Let's say you're watching something like really bleak, like from the beginning, like in the
capturing
first
the
two.
Freedmans.
Okay, that's bleak. I recognize that. And for the other 4 listeners that know what that movie is, they also recognize that. But I'm saying for the most part, like 4 minutes into a movie, you're going to be asleep.
Not me.
No, not you.
Okay.
Not me either.
Yeah.
I lost my original point on this.
Well, my point with her is that she has no right to tell me what we're going to watch when we go to bed, because if she wants to,
The fact that she's
she can
willing to
fall
watch
asleep
anything, though, is pretty
immediately.
impressive.
She's just
I've
willing
had to talk girlfriends into that.
Well, I remember when we were all in town for whatever reason, we were all staying at like some hotel room in Seattle.
All of us, as in me, you, and your wife?
Me, you, my wife, and a bunch
and
of
9
my
other people,
Yakima
yeah.
friends. Yeah.
I remember that.
That we had undeclared the brilliant Judd Apatow series
Yes.
on DVD, and we put it on, and everyone just wanted us to shut it the fuck off, and then you wouldn't stop snoring after you fell asleep, and everyone was asking me to shut you the fuck off, which was significantly harder.
Yes. There's no mute button for my snoring. There's punching me in the face. Like, Okay, there are 12 people spending the night in that hotel room.
Yeah.
We're all crammed in. I can't be the only one snoring, or was I?
Well, at least asleep at that moment, yes. You were, and I kept kicking
Was I
you
the
in
only
the
one
head.
asleep, though? Or was I one of 12 people asleep and the only one snoring?
I think you were the first one to fall asleep, and by fall asleep we mean drunkenly passed out. But I think Har and I both kind of took duties on every time you really started with the... Like, we switched off kicking you in the head. You're an awful snorer. You snore horribly. When you're asleep in our living room, we can hear you from the bedroom.
Really?
Not so
Even
much
recently?
Not that it bothers us in the slightest bit.
I'm not asking if it bothers you.
It doesn't
Obviously,
wake us up or anything like that because you're in the other room, but we hear it, definitely.
Obviously, I will continue to sleep in your living room and snore obnoxiously and apparently keep you awake. But I've heard this from girlfriends, but they've always kept it pretty light. Like, yes, you do snore, but they make it out to be a cute thing. There's
nothing cute about snoring. My wife snores like a fucking donkey getting fucked in the ass. Like, it's ridiculous. I've recorded it and played it back for her, and she thought it was a joke. She thought I recorded it
You must
myself.
snore too, though, right?
I think every now and then I do.
That's how I thought I was. Am I every time? If you're saying, like, you guys are you're awake at night in my weekend staying over there because I'm crashed out on the couch.
Well, let's say...
two closed doors away.
Let's say you and I stay up particularly late. We're drinking, we're recording, we're doing whatever. You and I stay up late.
Before you even continue, I think if we're staying up super late and recording and drinking, of course I'm going to snore because I think drinking has a lot to do with my snoring.
Okay, well, that's fine. Not everyone who drinks snores, but okay. A lot of people do.
Is that not even... You act like that's not even a legit excuse.
No, I know that's probably the reason, but it doesn't change the fact that you and I will be up. We'll
every
go to
time
bed.
I'm at your house, I'm drunk.
My wife will be in bed. You're not waking her up. You're not waking Sophie up. But I will be asleep in bed watching the first hour and a half of There Will Be Blood or something that my wife doesn't want to fall asleep to 28 days later or something of the sort. And I can hear you snoring. And then if Alvina does happen to be awake, we talk about it and we have a good laugh.
You guys have a good laugh at my expense at least 80% of the time.
What do you want us to do? Like, get mad and be like, oh, Nick, you're going to wake up the baby.
I'm not even talking about snoring specifically, although that pisses me off now that I know about it. Don't fucking shit on me for snoring. Like, I can't control that, first of all. Secondly, you guys make fun of me for more than
Alvina
that. If it was
snores.
just the snoring.
She snores ridiculously. It's out of control.
Yeah, but I don't hear it.
She wakes herself up snoring.
All I'm saying is...
She wakes herself up convinced that I did something loud enough to wake her up. She can't admit to herself that it was her own fucking snore.
Okay.
Her own fucking...
All I'm saying is, like, if you guys are aware enough of my snoring to comment on it and make your little couples jokes about it...
what are we going to do? Go fucking strap a strip on your nose or something like that?
That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is... you say I have as much of a right to make fun of Alvina for her snoring, but am I an idiot for being the same distance across from her? Like, obviously we're the same distance away on the weekends that I'm spending at your house. So, like, because I don't notice her snoring, I'm more of an asshole?
Well, I guess, man, if you don't hear her doing something, how are you going to make fun of her about it?
That's true, but that's because I'm in my own world.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'm falling asleep to King of Queens.
Yeah, well, you only get your King and Queen fixed at my house. How many separate discs of King of Queens do you think I have? Because I can't...
Separate discs?
I can't decide on one when I'm going to bed because I've seen them all so many fucking times. Let's go. 9 seasons.
9 seasons.
Basically 5 discs each. Over 40 discs. The last season is like only 3
9
discs.
times 5? 45, right?
Right. Except
are you
for
just saying right?
Well, no, that's right. But
Okay.
the last one only has a couple, and not all of them have 5. So over 40 discs of the King and Queens, and you have that brilliant luxury of being able to come over, and you just pop anyone in at random. I have to go.
You're talking
through
about King and Queen specifically when they
Right.
come over. Yeah.
You can pop one in and be pleasantly surprised.
Let me stop you right there.
Patton Oswalt's
Before
gonna
you
make laugh.
continue, and this will lead to your ultimate question. King of Queens is not, based on what I've seen, which is not the whole series, which you've obviously seen too many times every episode.
Oh yeah.
And that seems like kind of a weird thing because it's just one of those sitcoms where it's the guy and he's fat and he has
Fat guy,
the bitchy
hot
wife, bitchy hot wife, sure.
Yeah.
And
At least in the beginning season, she got really fat and miserable.
she did, and we all recognized it,
Okay.
including her, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Why didn't she make a change? And then so we're all sitting there and we're watching this, and like I recognize that it's funnier than most. I don't want to say most sitcoms, but
There's
most
more
current
funny
sitcoms.
moments in it.
Not even that it's on anymore.
Yeah.
But there are funny moments and there are funny people, like you said earlier. Patton Oswalt, like he's one of my favorite comedians.
Gary Valentine's really funny on it.
Who does he play?
He plays the cousin. He's Kevin James's brother in real life.
Who's the guy you hate from the beginning seasons? That's his friend.
I can't.
Starts with an R.
I can't remember his real name, but
No, I'm just asking for the character name.
Richie.
Gee.
His name was Richie.
Richie.
He was the Italian guy. Hey, Moose. Hey, Moose. It looks like you're putting some mousse in your hair, huh? Hey, Moose. How's that sister of yours doing, huh? Oh, by the way, they wrote the sister out of the show.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, she was played by Ricky Lake.
Okay. Had no idea.
Well, there's so many discs of it that it would seem that I should be able to watch it, but I just fucking OD on these shows when I get them. Like the King of Queens, I was never willing to buy the box set because it's $150. But
Which seems a lot for Kevin James.
sure, but within a 1 week time, I was so obsessed with buying the individual seasons that I probably spent like $230 on it. And I didn't get the fancy truck box set of it, you know,
Yeah.
in the shape of a truck. And like, I can't even fucking decide on a disc now when I put it in the DVD player because they're all just so stuck in my head. Like, I know every joke that's coming with every single
So,
episode.
I guess my question is, if you're going to fall asleep to something, why does it have to be King of Queens? Why not something else that you've seen a million times, like Swingers?
See, that's just something that my wife prefers. She prefers something sitcom-ish and funny.
Okay,
and
but there are a
lighthearted
lot
to
of
fall
other
asleep.
sitcoms out there,
Right,
too.
but also she falls asleep immediately. So that's why I say lately I've been watching movies like Silence of the Lambs and There Will Be Blood, and whatever that last one.
What
I
kind of
watched
dreams
was.
are you having when you're falling asleep to Silence of the Lambs or There Will Be Blood?
Not really dreams, but I'll tell you dreams I have been having a lot lately.
Please don't.
Dreams that I've been having a lot lately. Interesting question.
That wasn't a question. I didn't mean for that to be a question.
I'm going to answer
Please
it.
stop.
I'm going to answer it in two parts. One
Answer what?
is that I always have dreams. This is more based off of not so much movies, but like 48 Hours Hard Evidence, where a guy's wife gets raped and murdered.
Sure.
And he sees the guy go to jail forever. And I really feel a strong urge to make sure my wife knows if you are raped and murdered, I will make sure that man dies. I will murder him like the Salton Sea in any other movie you can think of where revenge is exacted. And then I almost feel like hiring a man to rape and murder my wife just so that I can be this awesome vigilante and fucking exact revenge. But then another one.
So
that
you see yourself like really going off on this guy, like in a violent way, or you would just like hire somebody to kill him?
Okay, if we're gonna be honest about this,
If your wife were raped and killed, be honest, what would you do?
It disgusts me to think about. But
Of course.
when you watch so many Datelines and 48 Hours, and
Which
shit,
your wife is obsessed with.
right, and I
Every
watch,
time I'm over there, it's like cold case files.
Yeah. and I watch a lot of.
Is that a real show?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And even when you watch Intervention, a lot of these 17-year-old drug addicts got molested by uncles when they were 11 and stuff like that. Even if it was you, buddy, if my daughter was molested by somebody, like I don't know. That person going to jail just doesn't seem like enough to me. And a lot of times when I'm watching these shows, this happens to be when I am drunk or high, and I admit my imagination goes a little wild to where I would think, like, I seriously am sitting there thinking about how would I dispose of the body? How would I make it never point to me? Shit like this. And it's what I would do. I honestly believe with all of my heart that if somebody murdered somebody close to me,
Yeah.
then they will be dead.
But you don't mean everybody close to you. Like, I see what you're saying, but only
If somebody murdered Mom, then I would hope that person goes to prison. But if somebody murdered my wife or my kid, then prison is not going to be good enough for me.
You realize that, though, in most cases, mom, I'm not saying our mom, but moms in general, if they're alive and they're still trying to be a part of your life, then they lump into that daughter wife.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I'm talking about me personally, who I'm close to, who I would be willing to ruin my life
See,
over.
and I don't have a wife or a daughter.
Because to
And
me, if my wife was killed, it would be more worth it. Like, I don't know. I'd be willing to go to jail.
Yeah, I guess I get that. I mean,
I don't want to sound. Well, I am an American badass, but I just don't want to like fucking rub it in people's face. You know what I mean? I will arm wrestle anybody and win, especially if they talk shit about my wife.
yeah. How do you feel about this? Like, let's say you know me pretty well. You're my brother.
If you rape my wife, I would still murder you.
No, that's not what I was going to ask.
Raping like cancels out Brotherhood.
Blame Brotherhood. Music are out of control. They would crash the airway to the microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. All the ladies now take off your clothes. Blame Brotherhood. Blame Brotherhood.
Let me break the question down even further. You seen Kathy Bates' tits?
Oh, I've seen Kathy Bates' tits.
What'd you
I've
think of
jerked off. I'm not going to lie when I say I have jerked off to them.